Hey guys, welcome back. Originally this video was meant to be a Tip Tuesday video. Haven't done one in a while, but I'm recording pretty late on a Tuesday. So it's probably gonna go up Wednesday. And I'm gonna be showing you guys how to achieve the winged eyeshadow look. It's something that I do often. I very rarely wear winged liner. I'm sure you guys have noticed that. And the reason for that is because if you look at my eyes and I look straight forward, I don't actually have a lot of lid space. I create that illusion by making my eyeshadow go so high up. That's why I sort of blend it all the way to my brows. It makes my eyes appear larger, whereas without makeup, they look really small, and you wouldn't really know that my lid is actually really thin. So if I do a winged liner, it sort of takes up all the lid space and you don't get to see the eyeshadow. That's why I don't do eyeliner. I prefer eyeshadow over liner. And also, I wasn't planning on using the brand new single ColourPop eyeshadows, the pressed ones, but they were out on my table and I was like, you know what? Let's do sort of like a first impression. Try these guys out. I did use them one other time, but it was a super simple look. Like literally I used one of the eyeshadows. So if you guys were interested in these eyeshadows, I am going to be using them today. And keep on watching. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is apply an eyeshadow primer. And when applying the primer, you want to make sure you extend it a little bit past the outer corner of your eye, because if you don't, you'll get a choppiness to your eyeshadow because the eyeshadow will stick better to the primer than to your skin or foundation. And it'll be really hard to blend out if you don't extend the primer. So I'm going to be using an old favorite. This is MAC's Soft Ochre. I don't think I've ever used this here on my channel, and I used to use it all the time, especially when I worked at MAC. So I'm going to use this to prime my eyes today. Next, I'm going to be taking a foundation powder and applying it from the brow bone down to the crease to make blending of the eyeshadows a lot easier. And also, I like using a foundation powder or a translucent powder because it sort of ensures that the eyeshadow will disappear into the rest of the skin, where sometimes a neutral eyeshadow or a bone-colored eyeshadow can leave a distinct mark where it's like really light and you can't really blend around the eyes. So I like using a foundation powder or translucent powder. I'm going to be using the Bare Pro foundation in the shade Champagne. This is number 03, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply it to the brow bone. You also, just like with the primer, you want to make sure that this powder is extending past the eye, because if not, all the shadow will stick to the outer area of the eye. Now you want to go in with a transition eyeshadow. This is going to help to outline that outer V or that winged out shape of the eyeshadow. And it's also going to make it so that you don't go in with a dark eyeshadow first and then wing it out and then you can't blend it out. It's going to give you that nice gradient effect from dark to light when applying your shadows. So I'm going to be giving these new ColourPop single eyeshadows a try today. The first shadow I'm going to use is Bel Air, and I'm just going to apply that to the crease and start outlining that outer V. And then whatever's left over, I just start lightly brushing it outward this way. A good guideline is the end of your brow. So you can see I've already drawn my brows and I'm going to have to touch them up afterwards, but I like to wing my eyeshadow out to meet the end of my eyebrow. And sometimes I'll add a little more contour powder right here, so that way the eyeshadow kind of disappears into the contour. And I really love the Smith 232. You guys see me use this brush all the time. I think I use it in every single video. I like it because it's tapered, so it allows you to be a little more precise with your shadow application versus something like a Sigma E40. I love this one for the very end when all I'm going to do is blend everything out, but you can just see if I hold it up to the camera. So you can see when you look at them up close, this one has a flat top, this one is tapered. So if you want to create that wing shape to your eyeshadow, this one is going to be a little more user-friendly because it has that fine point, making it a lot easier to draw out that wing, whereas this one's good for just like an all-over buffing blending motion. Next, I'm going to go in with an eyeshadow that's similar in tone, just a little bit darker. This one is called Note to Self, and I'm using a Smith 230, which is basically a smaller version of the Smith 232. It just allows you to be a little more precise with your application. And I'm just going to deepen up the color that we've already applied to the eyes. And for this color, I like to focus it a little more on the outer V and then start blending it into the crease. And also for this one, I don't blend it all the way out because it is darker. I tend to stop right here, and then I'll grab the first brush and blend the edge out. You don't want to add a lot of dark eyeshadow on that outer V because it'll look too sharp and not well blended. And then I'm also going to take a little more of that eyeshadow and just apply it right on this inner corner. Now, if you're someone with more of a round eye shape, this next step is really going to help you out. The lower lash line, I feel like, is what determines the shape of the wing. If you have round eyes, if you try to follow the shape of your eye, it's really hard to create that wing effect. But when you follow your lower lash line, I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to pick up some of the first eyeshadow, the transition shade, onto that smaller Smith 230 brush. And you're going to follow your lower lash line going up. That's going to help you to create that wing and make it go up versus if you follow a round eye shape, you don't really know where to wing that shadow out. Again, the end of your brow is a good indication as to where you should wing your shadow to, but for a rounder eye shape, I just find it a lot harder. But if you follow your lower lash line, so I'm going to start applying it right here. And then follow the lower lash line going up. And that's pretty much it for creating a winged look to your eyeshadow. However, if it starts to look crazy and it doesn't nicely diffuse into the rest of your skin, this is where the foundation powder is going to come in hand. So I'm using that same brush I used earlier to set from the brow bone down to the crease, and I'm using the same foundation powder. I'm going to pick some up on the brush, and I'm just going to blend the outer edge. And again, this is why I like using a foundation powder, because it's the color of your skin. So it's going to ensure that it kind of just disappears into your face. You know what I'm saying? And then once I've blended it out as much as I want, that's when I go in with the Sigma E40 and just really buff out the outer edges. And then I go back and build some more color. I'll go in and add some more with that other brush. I always like to look at it with my eyes open and see where or what areas could use more eyeshadow. I'm going to use the shadow Popular Demand and apply it to the inner and outer corners of the eyes just to deepen up this look a little more before adding a center highlight. Ooh, I like that one. I really do miss Soft Ochre Paint Pot from MAC. It just really mattifies your eyelids. If you have oily eyelids, it really is the best primer. You can sleep in your eyeshadow, not that I recommend it, and wake up and it still looks exactly the same. I used to do that in college all the time. Sleep in my eyeshadow, wear it to a day party the next day. And just to add a tint of peach to this look, I'm going to use the color Wait For It. And I'm going to pick it up on the blending brush and just lightly buff it all over the eyes. So like on the outer edges to give it more of like a peachy tint. And I'm going to take the smaller tapered brush, the Smith 230, and apply it to the outer portion of the lower lash line. And the last ColourPop eyeshadow I'm going to be using is called Come and Get It. This one is a shimmery shadow. I'm going to pick it up on a brush, spritz it with the Urban Decay Chill Setting Spray, and then pack it onto the center of the lid. And I was going to use the highlight that I have on my face for an inner corner highlight and a brow highlight, but I'm going to use one more of these ColourPop eyeshadows just to give it a try. I'm going to use, actually, I don't even know if it's going to be good for a highlight. And that is it for this tutorial. The only thing I did additional to the eyes is I went back in with the shadow Save It for Later, the gold one that I used to highlight the inner corner of my eyes and brow bone. And I used my finger to add more of it to the center of the lid to give that added pop to the spotlight eye. And as for these shadows, they are out already. They retail for $5 and I really like them. The pigmentation's great. There was fallout, like, it's just funny that that's like even like a criteria. I feel like there's always going to be fallout with eyeshadow. It's just whether there's more or less. So there was fallout, but not a lot, and it wiped away easily since I had powder underneath my eyes. I really like them. I feel like their color selection for their first shadow releases is kind of random if you ask me, but I do like them. And I can't wait for them to release more eyeshadow colors. They also came out with 2 other palettes that contain 4 single eyeshadows, which I will show you guys right here. And yeah, everything else that I have on my face I will make sure to link in the description box for you guys. The one thing I will let you know, the lip I threw on is the Makeup Geek Plush Matte Lipstick in Cougar. I don't know if it really matches this look or this background, but it just caught my eye and I decided to put it on. So that is that. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know if you guys will try this technique next time you do your makeup. And don't forget to subscribe, so I see you in the next one. Bye guys.